Ladies and gentlemen, this is Envoy of Kairos back with another Control Speedpaint. We're working with another pair of characters in their dormant form, and in this case, we have C.O.N.T.R.O.L and Rachel Bodil. These two are very unique and specialized members of the original Control Militia's roster, with roles that share only one similarity: discretion up until the point of execution. C.O.N.T.R.O.L is a timid, quiet, and introspective young man. He's never been very social, focusing on the occasional company of the intellectual over the consistent company or the involvement of the hyperactive. He lived a very enclosed life, and became a bit of a target at school. At first, he had a knack for simply disappearing. Sleight of hand, stealth, and subterfuge came naturally to him, and allowed him to avoid conflict with ease, and enjoy his life in relative peace. His family life was fine, enjoying the more forested and cozy parts of Paoli, with parents who were quite well off. But, of course, this is in my book, so you know that can't last. Eventually, the breach hit, and chaos ensued. Cole managed to protect his family long enough to get them to a stable shelter. Once there, many warriors there developed raiding parties to search for supplies and survivors. But it eventually turned out that some of the survivors they brought back were planted to raid their stores instead. The resulting scuffle took his parents' lives. Having lost the one thing keeping him there, he took to a nomadic lifestyle, just generally alone at first, actively seeking solitude. That only lasted until meeting Gil on the road, and saving the hothead from a stealthier foe he'd entirely missed. From there, he ended up taking basically a babysitting position with the young man. Gil had always been far too aggressive and eager for his own sake, and over time, Cole ended up taking sort of a big brother role with him. This cycle of wandering, scavenging, and combat would continue for another 2 weeks, before coming across Abigail Summerfield, aka Biz, the woman who would eventually be the Control Militia's engineer. She ended up saving them from a conflict that even the two of them could not handle. Something that would leave them both shocked for many years to come. As they continue to travel together, seeking to assist Biz in her research, and generally trying to find a more comfortable place to live, the rumor mill led them to Phoenixville, in search of a tyrannical priest who had apparently taken to leading his zealots westward to execute any unleashed with features he deemed impure. This assassination attempt was completed by the man who would soon be their leader, and the method to a madness they could never have seen coming. Meeting Mason and joining his makeshift militia made life a good deal more stable, but soon enough it would prove to be the beginning of a new, chaotic era in their lives that none of them, not even quiet, timid Cole, could come to regret. Their actions will eventually change the world of the Control series irrevocably. For his outfit, being the team's assassin, I went with plenty of navy and gray. Of course, this is because of the age-old idiom any follower of Gaijin Goomba knows: real ninjas wear blue. And he is indeed right. The cloak is a custom piece by Biz meant to channel his powers more fluidly and hasten its use, while the rest is either bog standard or, in the case of his pants, digital naval camo. His equipment here is a wrist-mounted assassin blade, but there's a bit of a twist. This model by Biz is made with a Genesis battery and bismuth-laced metals, resulting in an edge that adapts his powers for two potential tricks that I'll get to in his Unleashed form video. One is meant to keep him safe on the occasion of accidentally triggering it, and the other ensures his opponents just won't see it coming, even if he attacks them head-on. But, moving on, I've got a lot to say about Rachel as well. Her history is a bit troubling. She was born to a US military general and an unhappy, unfaithful wife who only remained because of their family's strict Roman Catholic views. But she is not her legal father's daughter. No, she was born of an affair between her Italian-American mother and a handsome Samoan gentleman who wooed her while on vacation in his homeland of beautiful Hawaii. As a result, she has a notably wide Samoan nose and silken, nearly reflective black hair. As a second result, her father resented her from the start, and always pushed her with expectations of absolute perfection to make up for the stain on his life he perceived her as. Her mother drank herself into a stupor. Her brother went on to become the Air Force's top pilot. She, on the other hand, went to boot camp, unveiled a massive lack of respect for authority, followed by a near fetishistic love for explosives, and proceeded to get kicked out. Top that off with an aggressive display of lesbianism just to tell her father to fuck off when she returned, and she was left couch surfing for a few months before the breach came around. From here, she found survival to be quite simple. Boot camp was short-lived, but she'd been put through hell by her father, and knew how to be self-sufficient and critical. Her newfound powers made a defensive lifestyle quite easy, but she also just hated living that way. Instead, she took the opportunity to prove herself and improve her craft. She couldn't get in trouble for arson or impromptu demolition anymore, so long as the targets were clearly empty or contained people that needed to be dealt with for others' safety. She, of course, milked that for all it was worth, and it eventually led her the same way as Cole and Gil. She got to Phoenixville shortly after the priest had been dealt with, having heard of the good deeds there, and decided it was a good place to check out for a more permanent residence. As a result, she ended up roped into Mason's militia, and gladly took up the new experimental explosives Biz helped her to produce. Ones that worked wonderfully in conjunction with her powers. Now, she had a good reason to go whole ham on anyone or anything she was pointed at, and she revels in it. The chaos of the post-breach world suits her well, and she's happy to use the methods that chaos allows to bring a little order to those in need. Of course, for her character design, I ended up going with a slightly casual, short-sleeved military jacket, as she was still raised in that lifestyle and comfortable with how it looks on her, despite her history with it. Otherwise, she also wears a belt that, although the front pouches are relatively short, that's for comfort and ease of travel. The pouches on the back, on the other hand, are far larger, and meant to contain a decent quantity of her explosives. Overall, her outfit isn't too complex, but her combat style requires her to be quite active and agile, so she needed something a little lighter. Meanwhile, compared to Cole, although he is rather quick and simple with his combat style, he doesn't exactly need to be agile, as his methods are direct despite his assassination specialty, largely because of the powers we'll be going over later. So now, the two of them are Mason's go-to team for when something or someone needs to go, and without a trace of their involvement. And they both gladly take up the dirtier jobs, either out of duty and responsibility, or purely to have a blast in every sense. They couldn't be more different, but these two get along just fine, especially now that Rachel is surrounded by people that care about her, and that she actually cares about. It brings out a big sister she wanted to be and never got to, although she's more the type to throw you to the wolves and give solid advice from the sidelines on how to escape unharmed, while laughing her ass off. It'll take a while for her to learn a more tender approach, if ever. So, here you have them. C.O.N.T.R.O.L and Rachel Bodile, of the C.O.N.T.R.O.L militia. A dutiful and shy assassin, and an over-eager demolitionist. And their stories are just beginning. If you want to see more, subscribe to stay posted on when the final edition of the book is ready and released. But for now, this is Envoy of Kairos, signing out. And I'll see you all again in another 2 weeks for a fandom Speedpaint. Later. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're looking to support me a little further, maybe get some bonus content, or just keep up with me and other fans, you can find links down in the description leading to my Patreon, my Discord, and my Twitter. And if you're following me on Patreon, then you can expect some content polls to decide what's coming up on the channel, yet a little bit of background additions to some other series I've been working on, some more original and creative stuff. And who knows, if enough of you start supporting me soon, I might have a few other surprises up my sleeve too. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all again on the next video.